There's a reason your parents got dressed up on Friday nights in 1978. Chi-Chi's didn't serve dinner, they served a spectacle. The moment you walked through those doors, Minneapolis melted away. Mariachi horns blasted from the speakers, paper sombreros hung from the rafters. And that smell, sizzling meat, bubbling cheese, corn tortillas hitting hot oil wrapped around you like a warm blanket. This was Tex-Mex before most of America knew what Tex-Mex was. Chimichangas, the size of footballs. Nacho platters so overloaded they needed 2 people to carry them. Frozen margaritas in glasses bigger than your head. By the late 70s, Chi-Chi's had exploded. Over 200 locations, 2-hour waits on Saturday nights. They didn't just ride the wave, they were the wave. Then came the cracks. The food was never authentic. It was refried beans and deep-fried everything, designed for Midwestern palates that had never crossed the border. When the 90s brought a health-conscious shift, Chi-Chi's menu looked like a cardiologist's nightmare. But they might have survived that. What they couldn't survive was November 2003, a hepatitis A outbreak at a Pennsylvania location. Contaminated green onions, 600 people infected, 4 dead. The lawsuits piled up, the headlines wouldn't stop, and suddenly, nobody wanted to risk a chimichanga. By 2004, every Chi-Chi's in America had gone dark. What was your go-to order? Tell me in the comments. Here's a question nobody was asking in 1975. What if you wanted something between McDonald's and a steakhouse? Bennigans answered it anyway. They invented a category that didn't exist. Not fast food, not fine dining. Something in the middle where you could bring your kids, grab a beer, and leave without taking out a second mortgage. The formula was genius. Dark wood paneling, brass railings, Irish pub aesthetics transplanted to strip malls from coast to coast. A menu that didn't commit to anything except making sure nobody left hungry. But those chicken tenders, if you know, you know. People still argue about them decades later. Perfectly breaded, impossibly juicy, nothing since has come close. By the 80s, Bennigans was everywhere. The place you went after Little League games, after proms, after work, when nobody felt like cooking. Then came the copycats, Chili's, Applebee's, TGI Fridays. Suddenly the middle ground got crowded. And Bennigans, the one who built the bridge, started looking like yesterday's news. The interiors aged, the menu fossilized, and when the 2008 recession hit, there was no cushion left. Bankruptcy, overnight closures, hundreds of locations gone in weeks. About 15 Bennigans still operate today, but ask anyone who remembers the original run, it's a different restaurant wearing the same name. Walgreens owned a restaurant chain. Read that again. The drugstore, the place you bought toothpaste and greeting cards. They decided, in the late 70s, that what America really needed was Walgreens making hamburgers. And somehow, against all logic, it worked. Wags filled a niche nobody had identified. Classic American comfort food served without pretense. Thick burgers, hand-cut fries, roast beef sandwiches that people still get misty-eyed about. But the real innovation? All-day breakfast. In 1977, that was practically radical. Picture this, it's midnight. You just finished a double shift. Every restaurant is closed. But Wags? Wags is sliding a plate of pancakes and bacon across the counter like it's the most natural thing in the world. The problem wasn't quality, the problem was excitement. When the 80s rolled in, casual dining got flashy. Chili's brought the Southwest, Fridays brought the flair. And Wags just sat there in its vinyl booths, perfectly adequate, perfectly forgettable. Walgreens pulled the plug in 1991. The last Wags closed without fanfare. Nobody mourned it at the time, but decades later, people started remembering those late-night pancakes, those milkshakes, that reliable comfort. Sometimes you don't know what you had until the vinyl booths are gone. Burger Chef should have won. By 1970, they had over 1,200 locations, second only to McDonald's. And here's the thing, they were better. The combo meal? Burger Chef invented it. Burger, fries, drink, one price. McDonald's just copied the homework. The Works Bar where you could customize your toppings? Burger Chef. Flame-broiled patties with that smoky char? Burger Chef. The Super Chef burger went head-to-head with the Big Mac, and plenty of people will tell you it won. So how does a chain with 1,200 locations, breakthrough innovations, and better food just disappear? General Foods happened. They bought Burger Chef in 1968 and immediately started dismantling what made it special. Cost-cutting, inconsistent quality, marketing that made no sense. The corporate playbook for destroying a beloved brand. executed to perfection. By the late 70s, the decline was obvious. In 1982, General Foods sold the scraps to Hardee's. By 1996, the Burger Chef name existed only in memories. The chain that invented half the ideas McDonald's uses today couldn't survive its own boardroom. Want to know where Marilyn Monroe had lunch? Clark Gable? Humphrey Bogart? The Brown Derby wasn't a restaurant. It was the social calendar of old Hollywood, made physical. Founded in 1929, the original location on Wilshire Boulevard was shaped like an actual derby hat. You couldn't miss it. You weren't supposed to. By the 70s, multiple locations operated across Los Angeles, plus one in Walt Disney World. The walls were covered with caricature portraits of everyone who mattered in entertainment. Eating there meant you'd arrived, or at least that you wanted to look like you had. The menu matched the ambition. Cobb salad, invented right there by owner Bob Cobb, now served in every restaurant across America. Prime rib. Elegant entrees that felt like old money without the old money prices. But old money doesn't last forever. Hollywood changed. The studio system collapsed. Younger generations didn't care about golden age glamour. The Brown Derby's mystique faded from legendary to outdated in a single generation. Financial troubles mounted. The original hat-shaped location was demolished in 1980. The remaining restaurants limped along before finally closing. The Cobb salad survived. The Brown Derby didn't. Fast food has rules. Paper wrappers, plastic trays, eating with your hands while you drive away. Wimpy's broke every single one. Your burger arrived on a real plate, actual silverware, china, not cardboard. They wanted to bring dignity to the hamburger. Noble idea, terrible execution. The appeal of fast food is the speed, the convenience, the freedom to shove fries in your mouth without judgment. Wimpy's tried to fix a problem that wasn't actually a problem. Their quarter-pounder style burgers were decent. The Bender, a sausage sandwich that sounds ridiculous and tasted surprisingly good, developed a cult following. But the sit-down format felt like wearing a tuxedo to a picnic. Worse, quality control was non-existent. One location served great food, the next served garbage. You never knew which Wimpy's you were walking into. By the late 70s, most American locations had shuttered. The brand survives overseas, but in the States, Wimpy's is just a punchline waiting for context. Sometimes innovation means knowing what not to change. All you can eat steak, all you can eat shrimp, all you can drink beer and wine. This was real. This existed. This was $15 in 1978. Beefsteak Charlie's turned dinner into a competitive sport. Working-class New Yorkers rolled in with empty stomachs and left 3 hours later, absolutely destroyed, slightly drunk, still with cash in their pockets. The concept was magnificently unsustainable. At its peak, locations packed every night across the East Coast. The atmosphere was electric, every table, a celebration, every customer determined to get their money's worth and then some. But the math never worked. Rising food costs, unlimited alcohol liability, customers who treated the buffet like a personal challenge. By the mid-80s, corners were being cut. The steak got thinner. The quality dropped. Regulars noticed. Regulars stopped coming. Beefsteak Charlie's bled out slowly through the late 80s and early 90s before finally going dark. The lesson? Generosity has limits. A business model built on giving people more than they paid for only works until it doesn't. Gino didn't need a second career. NFL Hall of Famer, Baltimore Colts legend. The man had nothing to prove. But in 1957, he opened a hamburger joint anyway. Gino spread across the mid-Atlantic Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey with the Gino Giant as its flagship. People compared it to the Big Mac. Many said it was better. The smart move came early. A partnership with KFC that put burgers and fried chicken under the same roof before anyone else thought to try it. Football fans flocked there because Marchetti's name meant something. Families came because the food was consistently good. But success breeds ambition, and ambition breeds overextension. Gino's expanded faster than quality control could keep up. Locations opened before they were ready. Standards slipped. The magic diluted. In 1982, Marriott bought the chain and converted most locations to Roy Rogers. Gino Marchetti's restaurant empire became a footnote to someone else's brand. Hall of Fame athletes don't always make Hall of Fame businessmen. Every family had their Shoney's routine. Sunday mornings, birthday breakfasts, that random Wednesday when nobody wanted to cook. The big boy statue out front was basically a neighborhood landmark. The Big Boy Burger itself was an engineering marvel: 2 patties, special sauce, a tower of lettuce and tomato that required strategy to eat. But breakfast was the real draw. All-you-can-eat breakfast bars, fluffy scrambled eggs, hash browns with that perfect crispy edge, pancakes that absorbed syrup like they were designed for it, bacon by the plateful. Families could fill up without financial trauma. Kids could load their own plates and feel grown up about it. The value proposition was unbeatable. Then it wasn't. Competition intensified. Casual dining evolved. Shoney's stayed frozen in a decade that kept getting further away. Bob's Big Boy still operates in California, a museum piece more than a restaurant chain. The Shoney's name appears on scattered locations, unrecognizable from the original. If you remember fighting your siblings for the last pancake at the breakfast bar, you remember something that doesn't exist anymore. You couldn't miss a red barn. Every location was literally shaped like a red barn. Subtlety wasn't the strategy. Through the 60s and 70s, Red Barn grew to over 300 locations. The Big Barney Burger. Self-serve salad bars before they became standard. Creative menu items that tried to carve out space against McDonald's and Burger King. But Red Barn never figured out what it wanted to be. A serious competitor? A novelty? A family restaurant? Even loyal customers weren't sure what they were buying into. The brand was a building shape, not an identity. Quality varied wildly from location to location. You might get a great burger, or you might get something that made you question your life choices. The gamble wasn't worth it when consistent options existed down the street. By the early 80s, most Red Barns had been demolished or converted. The chain is remembered more for its architecture than its food, never a good sign for a restaurant. 10 restaurants, 10 different paths to the same ending. Bad luck, bad management, bad timing, sometimes all three. These places fed millions of families, created millions of memories, and then vanished so completely that an entire generation doesn't know they existed. Which one hit you the hardest? Which name just unlocked a memory you forgot you had? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want more of this, more forgotten places, more stories about the things we lost, subscribe. The next one's coming soon.